Me and burgers, we go back a long way. Back when I was a wee Todd. And I used to be pumping all over the place. My brethren Patrick, we used to go, well, I mean, this back in the days when they had places like Tantra and Nemo's and, living room. And if you don't know about them places, then you're old enough for this conversation. Right? Back then, we used to go in St. James for burgers on the way home every single night. So much so, actually, that the burger man, used to actually give us Christmas presents. Like, imagine he giving us Christmas presents. Good times, good times. I used to get chicken burgers, and Patrick used to get beef burgers, right? Because for some reason, I was never a big fan of mincemeat, of the meat burgers, the beef burgers, because I wasn't sure if it was beef all the time. Sometimes it would taste like beef, and sometimes it wouldn't, right? Either way, we used to go by the burger man religiously, and we would put the best of toppings on it. So you had to make sure you add the extra things. You had to spend your money too. You know what I mean? You had to put the little pineapple and the little bacon. And I mean, the burger man we used to go by didn't really used to mess with bacon too much. But, used to try and inveigle him. Needless to say, as I got older and I stopped going out as frequently, when I would have that craving for that street burger vibes, I figured out how to make it at home. And I know that it's beef because I make it home. So, if you have a street food Tabanca, I have a cure. Well, you're going to tell me how it go, right? When you try it. Because I'm going to show you how to make some beef burgers with sexy toppings. Thank you so much, B-Mobile. Let's go. All right, so we have here the things that we need. Now, let me start off by saying I am not Bridget. I am not a chef, right? So we cut up the things in a nice enough way. Only don't expect too much from me. We starting with, obviously, nice minced beef that we sure is minced beef. And we just throw it over into the mixing bowl because I can't mix nothing in this small bowl here. So throw it into a bigger bowl. Make sure we can get all because we also don't want to waste no mincemeat. Things are expensive in these streets. So we have mincemeat. We have some nice chive. I don't know if it's from Paramin, but I hope so. I got some real best chive from Paramin the other day. So I in love with it all of a sudden. Your usual salt and black pepper. If it would come out. Yay, it's a party. Right. Bridget recommended that you mix these things with your hands. And I agree. I fully agree. But I find that when I mix it with my ring on, it's kind of get a little bit messy. I don't know why, it's strange. Maybe because I don't like the ring to get dirty. But, they say you're not supposed to take it off. My wife will understand. I decided sometime that I wanted to try putting barbecue sauce in the middle of the thing because I feel like I want the burger to have as much flavor as possible. And why not honey barbecue sauce? I'll put it on top so you could put it in between too. For me, one of the best things about cooking food like this that's supposedly easy is that you get to experiment and try things, right? We just mix up the barbecue sauce in it. If you look at it, everything kind of gets nice and moist, which is good. I like it moist. And you should too because it really makes the flavor come out, So speaking of moisture, next thing I want to add is the eggs, but I was so steady that I didn't break the eggs first. So I'm going to have to take a second here and crack these eggs, and I'll check you back. All right, so eggs cracking. I wish I could be cool and do it on the side of the bowl, on some real Anthony Bourdain shiznit, but I want to embarrass myself on eatahfood channel now. Because, my name go end up all in these streets. In these Twitter streets. Alright, so we just add in, I just punch in some holes in it so that it will soak in and whatnot. But I'm going to continue mixing it anyway, because, you gotta mix things. That's how life does work. Alright, so back to getting your hands inside here. Now, it's really ridiculously moist at this point. And I know some of you are cringing every time I use that word, and that's why I'm using it, to be honest. But yes, it is very, it is the way that we want it. However, I'm going to add some breadcrumbs so that it gets easier to make into patties and firmer. At least that's what I think happens. I have no training in this department. This is all like trial and error, and it happens to work out. So I hate to show it to you. Now, the thing about breadcrumbs is that it's kind of go all over the place, and you want to get them to mix into as much of the mincemeat as possible to give a nice even flavor. And you see it's how they get thicker and it's how to hold together, because that's what the eggs do in tuna way. All right. So if you wanted, you could have one big stink patty like this, but nobody wants that kind of burger. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out. Now, ideally, you should leave it seasoning to soak for like minimum an hour. So I think just having the seasoning in here is gonna make it fairly tasty. Ideally, put it to soak for an hour and make your life a whole lot better. But I took out a handful, and we're gonna make the world's biggest burger because we're hungry and we have a street food Tabanca, right? So you want the biggest burger that you ever did eat in all your life, and you're gonna put all the toppings on it. So we're gonna make it nice and big, and control the shape a little bit, make it nice and round. And we have some huge burger bread anyway, so you need a big patty. Yeah, should work. And now the pot is ready, and so am I. So we're gonna put these mega patties into the pot, and just watch them do their thing. I wonder if I could fit two. I mean, it's a really big patty, but it's also a really big pot, And I'm making two so you can have one too, okay? Just put your send your address and your credit card info in the comment section, and we'll send you a burger. I'm kidding, don't do that. That's not gonna end well. So in the street food, like when you get in burgers on the street, they're not this thick, so they cook a lot faster. When I'm home though, what I do is I tend to cover the pot. I also don't use this big hard iron pot. I don't own one of these, but this pot is sexy. And I get the feeling it will cook as fast as when I cover it at home. But that's what I do at home. I don't necessarily I use a normal frying pan. You can use a normal frying pan and just throw some oil in it and put down the burgers. Make sure it's a well-oiled pan. And I tend to cover it. It cooks faster, and it gets, you're sure all the meat cooks all the way through. Well, I got cover, so we will cover it. Ooh, and this cover fits pretty snug. And it's just really to get the heat circulating so that the top of it starts getting cooked a little bit as well. So that, when it turns around to the other side, you don't have to let it get burnt on the outside to make sure that all the meat on the inside is cooked. That is really my logic behind it. I am not trained in this department. I am simply adding common sense to the equation. And experience. Because quite a few times I burn it. But that's also an important thing to understand, that it's part of the process to burn it sometimes. That's life, you make a mistake and you try again the next time. 4 minutes later. Let's check it. All right. I was advised by people who know better than me that you're supposed to wait until it is, like, you can see the line of the meat being cooked at least halfway up the burger before you flip it. I think we kind of there, but even if you flip it early, it's all right, because it will happen on the next side too, right? So you just have to be sure that you know when it's time to take it off and it don't burn. Oh gosh, it's thick and sexy. And it is not burnt. Key part. And my flipping game is not the smoothest. This one didn't hold together as well as it. Why am I putting my hand in the pot? I have a death wish. All right. So we're gonna flip it, and we flipped it, and now we cover it back to wait for it to do the same cooking to come through on the other side. It might be faster. It might be a little slower. It depends on the size of the patty you make, and I was ridiculous. So it's probably gonna take longer. But it's all right. You have nowhere to go, and they're gonna edit the video, so you're fine. All right. So while we were getting, giving it time to cook, I give it another four minutes or so. We've got the wine to go with the preparation and with the eating. Very important part of it, especially when you're cooking at home. That's the best part if you ask me. All right, so let's start assembling, because I think this is, Nelly. This is almost ready. And when it's ready, we want to put it straight into the bun, right? So, I mean, people assemble it in different ways. I personally like to start with the lettuce at the bottom. Well, the bread at the bottom, obviously. But I want to start with the lettuce, and this sour lettuce here, let me tell you about this sour lettuce. This is the healthiest lettuce I've seen in a long time. It's saying things. So you just put one whole piece down at the bottom of each arm. Yeah, and normally I would strip it and take off thing, but you know, we have a Tabanca, so we try to eat as fast as possible, right? Right, so we put that down there, and then we check on these here. Oh, every time. You see the smoke that's coming out every time? Oh, one of the best parts of cooking. You want to see it? You can take a look. You see how sexy it is? That is performance. I think I need a bigger plate, guys. All right, we'll make it work. Ooh. All right, so one of the ingredients that we put in to put as one of the toppings is actually bacon, right? So now that we took the burgers off, we can actually put the, gosh, this pot all here. We'll put the bacon on, give it a nice little sizzle, let it get some of the juices, you know, mix up with the juices that was there from the burger before. So now we move on. We have this bacon that's been getting nice and crispy. All right, so this bacon has gotten really oily, as bacon tends to do when the fat cooks out. So I'm gonna just put it back in the plate on a napkin. All right, so I just pat in the bacon to get some of the oil out. I don't really want my burger to be too oily, you know. But in the meantime, we're gonna add some other things. So we're gonna make this burger nice and fat and juicy. Put some pineapple first. Get it nice. I'm probably not going to add any more sauce to this burger because I put the barbecue sauce on the inside already, so it's still really nice and moist. It doesn't mean that you have to follow that same pattern. You could put sauce on top. You could put ketchup if you want. You could, you know, like I say, the best part about cooking for me is the experimentation part. So if you want to experiment with flavors and with taste, feel free to. A little tomato. I'm only putting one because I'm trying to be conservative because we're on camera, right? But if you wanted to, you could spread out the things a bit further because the patty a little big now, but I'm trying to keep the balance and keep it in our order too now. And then your bacon bits, which actually sell in the grocery as a thing by itself, but I made them from real bacon. What do you call these buns? Brioche. This is way fancier than I've ever eaten a burger. Because I normally just buy a normal burger bread now, but this is deserving. I don't even know if I can eat the whole thing. Look at the size of this beauty. Are you seeing this? Are you hungry? Good. That's what I was going for. Because you know, they say you eat with your eyes first. So, my God, how do I even... Yeah, you can try it. Try the recipe. Yeah, try it. Mission successful, guys. Try it. If you have a street food Tabanca, oh, this burger. Whew. Wait, boy, I feel like I'm in the early 20s again, you know? St. James, big up your whole self, boy. How do I describe the taste of this burger? Moist. That is the best way to describe it. It's juicy, like you literally can't stand up and eat it at the side of the road. Like I don't think I actually can because it's so moist. But what I would suggest is that you savor the flavor and you walk with a napkin. It's not really hard maths, but that's what they don't tell you in the street foods is that they just give you that wax paper for when it's moist so that it will collect all the moisture and it wouldn't end up on your hand. Just like this burger. It's quite lovely, if I do say so myself. So just believe you can make that at home too. Try it. Now that I know it tastes good, you can try it. Thank you so much, B-Mobile, for sponsoring this episode of Street Food Tabanca. Rock us out. you.